In Austin, I'm Quita Culpepper. After representing the Austin area in Congress for 30 years, Congressman Lloyd Doggett announced he may not seek re-election if the state's mid-decade congressional redistricting effort takes effect. The proposed map created questions about whether Congressman Greg Casar and Doggett would run against each other in a Democratic primary to represent Austin in Doggett's current District 37. Democrats have vowed to fight the new congressional map in court, but Congressman Doggett announced Thursday he would not seek re-election if it takes effect. In the aftermath of the July 4th flood in Kerrville, a first-person account from Texas Monthly's senior editor Aaron Parsley captured the horror, tragedy, and heroism of his family when the Guadalupe River swept their home away. His gripping piece on the cover of the current issue has been read by tens of thousands. But until now, Parsley has not spoken publicly about what happened and his decision to chronicle it for the world. Here's KVUE's senior reporter, Tony Plohetsky.
Aaron Parsley has spent his life sharing the stories of others.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you about a story idea.
But in the awful early morning hours of July 4th, when floodwaters struck the Texas Hill Country, his experience became one.
This story kind of had it all. It was heartbreaking, it was harrowing, it was heroic, it was hard to believe, and it was heartwarming.
Parsley, a senior editor at Texas Monthly, was one of 7 family members in their home along the Guadalupe in Kerr County when floodwaters lifted the home from its pillars and plunged it into the raging floodwaters.
I feel like I wrote this story powered by adrenaline.
As a journalist and storyteller, he knew in the early hours after what happened that he wanted to share it.
I did just want to say what had happened, and this was a way of giving my testimony, saying what I saw, what my family saw, what we heard, what it felt like, and just like what we remember about those hours that we spent sort of struggling to survive.
Over the next 6 days, often in the middle of the night, Parsley wrote what became a 4,500-word, deeply personal, first-person essay about the flood and the loss of his 2-year-old nephew, Clay, who was swept away.
So much of what happened, I could still hear it and feel it and smell it. So I think it was helpful that it was so fresh in my mind to get some of those details out.
Parsley writes in detail about the moments his family's home was washed away with his father, husband, sister, and brother-in-law, and niece and nephew inside.
The rushing, still rising water had lifted the house off its pillars. It was afloat, and then it wasn't. I saw part of the deck rip away. I heard windows break from every corner. Cracks split the walls. We crashed into something, probably a tree. I don't know how long it took, 10 seconds, maybe 15, for the house to come apart.
He shares gut-wrenching moments when the family realizes his nephew is gone.
It's Alyssa, my sister screamed. I'm with Rosemary. Clay is gone. The memory of those words will never leave me. A combination of profound relief and unbearable sadness overwhelms me now, even as I type this. Alyssa and I kept yelling to each other, though neither of us could clearly make out what the other was saying. Be strong for Rosemary, I implored. You have to survive this. Intermittently, I could hear just one word, Clay, as Alyssa cried out for her son.
He concludes the piece with a letter to his niece about the hours before the tragedy.
Rosemary, I want you to know that we had so much fun the day before the flood. We swam in the river until you wanted to jump from the rope swing. That came as no surprise because ever since you took your first steps on your first birthday, you've been a fearless, observant, determined little girl.
The essay touched millions and generated an unprecedented social media reaction for the magazine.
Like the flood, it was unexpected and overwhelming. And I felt like I was kind of swept up in a current of emotion, but it was good emotion. I felt a lot of gratitude, and I felt comforted.
In the weeks since, he says his family is grieving and trying to push forward. Parsley says he is thankful to be alive, and as a journalist and writer, thankful his words about that terrible day touched so many.
I'm just glad and grateful that I've had the chance to tell this story, especially here at Texas Monthly.
That was Tony Plohetsky reporting. Parsley and his family have set up a fund in Clay's name through the Austin Community Foundation. At the state capitol, House lawmakers passed a package of bills related to recovery and disaster preparedness on Thursday. Those bills come following the deadly 4th of July flooding. House Bill 1 would require camps to have emergency plans covering 12 different emergency scenarios, including flooding, fires, lost campers, intruders, and water emergencies. Camps would need to submit those plans to the state health department and local first responders. Each camp would also be required to hold safety orientations for campers and train volunteers and staff annually on the emergency plans. If they don't comply, the state could fine camps or strip a camp's state-issued license to operate.
Like it or not, the status quo changed on July the 4th. If we don't act, we are making the conscious choice to continue to roll the dice with the lives of our children.
Several lawmakers cried as they addressed the families in the gallery, telling them they hope the measures in the bill will save lives and prevent others from experiencing the same loss they did. Texas advocacy groups and colleges are vowing to continue fighting a legal battle over tuition rates for some students. They filed paperwork to challenge a decision to end the Texas DREAM Act, which allowed undocumented students to pay in-state tuition if they met other residency criteria. But recently, a federal judge rejected their arguments to get involved in that legal fight. Kelsey Sanchez has been talking with one student about their journey to finish their degree.
UT Austin student Mariette is getting ready to head back for her final semester, but it's coming with a price she didn't expect.
I think knowing that I'm going to finish my degree, it makes me more motivated to continue and to do, what I want to do.
Mariette was contemplating not returning because of the money. Her tuition now costing roughly $22,000.
So I feel really bad about doing that to my parents, and then I also feel bad for others that don't have the support that I do.
Her parents now dipping into their savings and getting help after the state ended the Texas DREAM Act, a law that previously allowed undocumented students like Mariette to pay in-state tuition. Now she has to pay out-of-state rates.
My dad used to tell me, you don't have to pay me back. Your payment to me is you getting that degree. And that was really sweet of him, but I definitely do want to show them how grateful I am.
That lawsuit is being challenged by advocacy groups, including the Texas Civil Rights Project, ACLU of Texas, and Austin Community College, or ACC. But that fight hit a legal road bump.
Our interests were not adequately represented in the order issued by the federal judge.
The group filed an emergency motion to intervene on the lawsuit in an effort to restore the DREAM Act. But a federal judge denied that motion, saying their arguments were legally futile, meaning it was unlikely to succeed, and the groups failed to state a plausible claim to make their case.
He did not necessarily address our what we had argued in terms of why we should be allowed to intervene.
Following the decision, the group filed a notice of appeal. Here at ACC, staff says that they're working with legal counsel to see what this new development means for students going forward. But they say their mission remains clear, helping each student that goes to ACC. And other groups say this fight is not over.
There are a lot of really important preliminary issues that nobody has addressed so far and that we have presented and will present to the Fifth Circuit.
As the legal battle continues, Mariette is just grateful she gets to go back to school.
I have made it this far and I can make it further,
even if it costs her more. In Austin, Kelsey Sanchez, KVUE News.
And those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Quita Culpepper.